Joining us in Johannesburg right now to discuss this deal further is Desmond Latham. He is an aviation analyst. Great to have you with us on the show today, Desmond. Now, let's start off with the fact that both Kenya Airways and South African Airways realistically have made significant losses in the past few years, and they've also lost quite a lot of market share to rival firms in their different markets. In light of this, what are your views on the viability of this plan, which is basically a Pan-African partnership going forward?
Yeah, Kenyan Airlines lost $333 million in the last year, and SAA owes around $700 million. So I think if you're a mathematician, you put two minuses together, you get a plus, but you don't get that in aviation. You just get two minuses. So, your question is very valid. What kind of growth are we looking at here going forward with the Omicron variant still affecting the outlook for aviation? So, as you said, it's for 2023. But SAA has lost a lot of its previous destinations to competitors. They've been eating their lunch, SAA's lunch here from South Africa and also further afield. So I think the jury's pretty much out on what's going to happen. But I do think that with the state of Kenya and the state of South Africa supporting their national airlines, there is an opportunity here for some kind of regional process to kick off what's supposed to have happened through the Yamoussoukro Declaration in 1999. Many of the regional entities are starting to move towards hubs, regional hubs. So I think that's one of the opportunities here.
Well, since the COVID pandemic, it seems like African airlines are sort of putting more emphasis now on collaboration and consolidation going forward rather than competition. Looking at this as a new business model, what are your views on this strategy, especially when it comes to addressing the sustainability of African airlines?
Well, the majority of the money coming into the airlines is in dollars and from tourism. And if that doesn't go back to what it was similar to 2019 as quickly as possible, then many of the airlines will continue to suffer. But with that said, there's a need for states in Southern Africa and East Africa and West Africa and North Africa to interrelate, if you like. And through our commodities and other economies, there's a need for the growth of business. So that's the motivation here. And if you look at the consolidation going on, you're right. When you look at the the African air transport market, which was supposed to have kicked this off, you have Rwanda and Qatar working on a joint partnership, and you've got Emirates. It's been working with airlines in South Africa, for example, the smaller airlines. So a lot of the partnerships that are building on the weaknesses that have been expressed through the last year, particularly 2 years, of state-owned airlines being picked up by the more independent airlines and then other international operations. That's the consolidation, is having big partners and local partners working together.
Well, on that note, I'd like to get your views on the sort of new normal for the aviation sector going forward. It seems like they've been forced to reset their business models and strategies in order to weather this crisis. What are your thoughts on what we'll be looking at going forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. Looking at the cargo side, the cargo figures are much higher than they were in 2019, but that's only 2 to 5% of operations of airlines. They need more than 90% comes from passengers who pay. So we've seen Cathay Pacific, for example, it's in real trouble in Hong Kong, one of the big players on the market, because of China's shutdown and also because of other things that are going on in terms of their business model. Singapore Airlines is beginning to eat Cathay Pacific's lunch. If you look at that, the Changi Airport at Singapore is taking over from Hong Kong. Looking at the airline support revenue, passenger kilometers have dropped down to levels that we've never seen. So overall, we're looking at innovation, the cost of travel. So a lot of the newer planes, which are 15 to 20% cheaper to operate, Airbus and Boeing's latest planes, they're going to be snapped up pretty quickly by these airlines who will be able to pick up the market as we emerge from this pandemic, which in South African terms, it looks like we're doing at the moment. I don't want to put the cart before the horse here, but Omicron is basically tailing off, and we pretty much opening up here. I think the first country in the world to do it after experiencing headwinds. So I think our regional look is looking quite positive. And so you're going to see regional hubs developing. You're going to see agreements between countries, like for like countries, and you're going to see much more innovation. Electric planes are going to come up pretty quickly now. And the more fuel-efficient planes are going to take over from the older aircraft flying across the world.